Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the Magicshine URBO FL and TL bike headlight and taillight combo. The new Magicshine URBO bike light set consists of the ultralight front light and an ultralight tail light. It's a nice new combination for commuting or road cycling that combines a compact size with some more advanced features such as a sharp beam cutoff and a smart brake detection algorithm. You can see packaging wise, very similar. Both have the cardboard box, orange branding on here with Magicshine logos, and a glossy representation of the light directly on the box. And then the runtime and specs printed on the side and the back. We'll go ahead and open these up. We'll go over the specs. For the set, it retails for about $27. You can also buy them individually. And the set is a little bit of a deal as you're buying them both at the same time. The headlight is 300 lumens, while the tail light is 50. And the headlight has a larger battery to accomplish that as well. You also have a sharp beam cutoff with the headlight, which is really cool to see. It's something we're seeing a lot more from Magicshine. Ensures you're not having any glare for oncoming traffic. Both of them are very lightweight designs with the miniaturized quarter turn mount system. They're both USB Type-C with long run times and versatile mounting. As far as what comes with them, pretty simple. So you can see they both come with these straps. So with the headlight, a very cool lens design, USB Type-C charging cable. In the handlebar mount, you can distinguish the handlebar mount because there's no angle here, it's flat. You have the instruction manual and the warranty card in here as well. And then for the taillight, pretty similar. Warranty card, manual, and then you also get the little accessory pack here. This one you also get a seat post mount with the angled backing. You also get a saddle rail mount with two of the zip ties for extra security to lock them in place. And then again, another charging cable. Now let's look at the weight of the lights. So the headlight by itself is about 50 grams. And if we add the rubber handlebar mount, you can see it's 58 total. The tail light with the seat post mount comes in about 41. And then the saddle rail mount, very similar to the one we see with other Magicshine products, just plastic, super lightweight at about 4 grams. Visually, the URBO lights are a new light design for Magicshine that combines square shape with a unique forged exterior. You can see it's actually just plastic on the outside, but it does look like forged carbon, and you get that little translucent effect when the light hits it. So it's actually pretty cool. It extends about halfway through the body on both the headlight and taillight. Both of them are pretty square, but you can see the headlight is bigger. The headlight is about 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, so pretty square with this little angled edge. And then the taillight, a little bit smaller at 1.25 inches. So it's about 32 millimeters on this and then 38 on the headlight. So a little bit bigger, but they're both still pretty small. Very different lens designs. The headlight has the aspherical lens, and it's a very cool shape. You can see it's kind of a big blob. And you can actually see the LED on the inside, so it helps redirect the light down on the ground to entirely eliminate any glare. The taillight's simpler, and you can see it's just all white, so it's almost hard to tell them apart initially, but a much wider lens and smaller shape overall. As far as similarities, they both have a single power button, a big rubber button with the power with illuminated design, so it'll be green, red, or flashing red to indicate the battery status. Hold them to turn them on, and then you can do the single press to cycle through the different modes. Long hold to turn them off again. And then they also have the lockout feature, so if you hold them for about 5 seconds, you can see they'll go flashing red and then they won't turn on. So this is the transport mode. And it's really convenient, so if you're traveling and these are kind of bouncing around, they won't just turn on. You can disable it again by holding it for about 5 seconds. Mounting wise, you can see they both have the same quarter turn mounts, actually just molded in the body with a USB Type-C port right underneath it. So it's hidden behind a little gasket. It's the same design we've seen with the other Magicshine lights. It's very similar to Garmin, and it has 2 raised tabs that go into these extensions. So rotate and then lock. And with these being so lightweight, it's kind of perfect. You won't have any rattling or anything. You can tell apart the mounts again because this one's flat. So this will go on the handlebar. And then the taillight has a seat post mount. Same design, but you can see this one actually has an angle on it. So most seat posts are angled backwards. So this will accommodate that to keep this horizontal. It's a simple rubber strap, so same design, and it's actually interchangeable with Ravemen as well. They also include the saddle mount, which is pretty nice. So simple plastic construction, same quarter turn mount, locks in place, and then this will go on your saddle rail and hide underneath your saddle for a cleaner look. As far as the lens design, that's what really differentiates these lights from the Seemee lights that Magicshine already has. The headlight's the coolest one, so you can see that lens shape. Has a nice sharp beam cutoff, so literally no glare. So when you're riding at full power, you won't be blinded. Most traditional lights, you'd have that glare like this, but with this one, it's actually tilted down, so when you're walking up, you can see there's no glare up here. Has a unique shape with this U shape, but you do have the color artifacts at the edge, which is something you see with the other Magicshine lights. And that's just a byproduct of the shape of the lens. You can also see there's a couple modes, a couple constant modes, and then flash modes. You have to double click to enter the flash mode, so they actually separated it, which is really nice. So 2 flash modes and then 2 constant modes. But if you're riding at night, you can just hit the single press to toggle between high and low. And that's a really nice feature. You're not going to get blinded. It's also, again, very cool design. You can see the LED in there, but it has a very cool aspherical egg shape, which helps redirect the light. It does result in this bigger body, and that's one of the downsides of this general design. It's a lot bigger than your traditional headlight. The other downside of this light is there's no side indicators here, so it's an inside lens, so unfortunately they didn't put a little cutout or separate marker. The taillight, on the other hand, is really simple. So you can see at first glance, it doesn't even look like a taillight, it's all white. But when you turn it on, there's a little red LED in there, and it kind of diffuses over this whole frosted lens. It's still pretty bright, so it's 50 lumen, but in full flash mode, you can see it is bright. It just doesn't have very fancy lens design. It's just a simple deflector in here with this frosted appearance and the single LED. Compared to the Magicshine Seemee lights with cob LEDs and rings, this is a lot simpler, but this is a lot more affordable light set that costs less for the combination than the individual Seemee lights. Here you can see the modes for the headlight. You get a very distinctive beam and a couple constant modes. Low is very dim at 100, and then 300 lumens is the maximum output with the high output with 3-hour runtime. Nighttime flash is a pulsing, so it goes low to high. Daytime flash is a more erratic one, it's great for daytime use, and again, full 300 lumens. And then for the taillight, you also have a few modes. You have the low mode, which is really dim at 6, and then a 15 lumen high mode, as well as a couple flash modes. Nighttime flash, again, is a pulsing effect. That's 15 lumens with 16-hour runtime. Daytime flash gives a full 50 lumen and 46-hour runtime. Then eco flash gives you the highest runtime, but a little bit lower output. Here you can see some taillight footage, and you can see the brake sensor actually triggers quite a few times. So if you do a little slowdown, you hit a bump, it's kind of sensitive, and that's one reason why I typically turn it off on the Magicshine taillight, as it really reduces the battery life. But with these, you get a really nice headlight. It's more than bright enough for typical nighttime riding. You'll want something obviously bigger if you're doing multi-hour nighttime riding, but with this one, it's really compact, and with the headlight lens, it's pretty advanced. The taillight is not as advanced, but it does work well, and they're both very compact light set that's very easy to install and remove. So if you have a commuter or a bike where you don't need a ton of output, this is a really good option. As you can see, we've done a ton of light reviews, including most of Magicshine Seemee lights. So if we start with the taillight, you can see the Seemee series has everything from the Seemee 50, which has a cob LED design. This is the Seemee 50 Pro. It's a really cool design. It's a cob strip, but you can see it's transparent on the edge. And definitely a unique appearance, very thin, so it kind of blends in, while the more square shape here is more similar to the 150 or the 250. So you can see with this one, it's a single LED, very focused, so you get much more of a sharp beam, and you have a cob ring around it, while the URBO here is less of a focused light, so you can see you don't really see the beam compared to the 150. It's also lower power, so it's 50 lumens, and otherwise similar design, same mount, same USB-C charging port. It's just a little bit different of a lens. This one's a lot simpler. I actually like the design on this one, focused LED with the ring. But this one has better side visibility versus the transparent body here, as you just have the full extended lens. The higher Seemee lights also add even more features, so they add a downward facing LED, which is pretty cool. So this actually light up the ground underneath you, and it'll do that based on the ambient light sensor. So you actually have to get it into a mode where it thinks it's light outside. So there you go. See the light underneath, very bright. Similar shape, but again, this one's just maybe a little bit more modern with the carbon accents, more affordable. You don't have FTR light sync or other connectivity. And then compared to the big dog here, the Seemee 300, they even have a 400. You can see it's a lot smaller, single LED, but this one costs more than the combination of the URBO lights. But it gives you a lot more power, so I think this one's a good in-between. It's not super powerful, but good for commuting and urban riding as a set. The headlight is also very cool, and the big comparison here would probably be the Trek flare lights. We have the updated version, which has USB Type-C. And the first thing you'll notice, they both have this kind of hooded design, but the Trek one is a very simple LED, and that's the big difference here. This has no sharp beam cutoff, and you just end up with a cone shape. So if you're riding along, you're gonna get blinded. So you definitely have glare, while something like the URBO has that sharp beam cutoff, so you get all the power you need on the ground. The nice thing about the Trek though is they do have side windows, so you can see there's little cutouts that illuminate, so you're actually visible from the angle where you're not visible here. That would have been nice to see, but otherwise it's very cool that they have the sharp beam cutoff. In terms of size, it's also a little bit bigger because of that lens shape, but you get more power and again, much more advanced lens. This one has a multi-LED indicator, which I like more than the Magicshine version. There's either green, flashing red, or red, so you don't get a lot more. You only get 3 levels. It would be nice to get this 4th level. It's a more intuitive display, you don't have to figure out what the colors mean. The older Bontrager lights were similar. This is the RT version with a bunch of Bluetooth features. They didn't have a brake sensor, but they do have a lot of features compared to the other lights. But you can see a little bit more compact. Cat Eye Nano is another tail light. So pretty square shape, similar but very simple lens. And as far as tail lights, there's tons of options. You can go with IGB Sport with full animated cob LEDs, which is a little bit overkill. This one's a little bit expensive for the additional animation features. What we like about the URBO lights is they have a sharp beam cutoff with the headlight, which is always nice to see. It also has a very compact form factor, so it's great for commuting or when you don't need that much output. It also has a forged carbon fiber exterior, which looks pretty unique. The main negatives with these lights is the fact that you have a very basic taillight lens, especially compared to the headlight. And then with the headlight, you have an inset lens, so there's no side visibility. They didn't put any markers. Taking everything into account, we'd give the lights a 9.0 out of 10. It's a lightweight and bright light set. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at sweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at The Sweet Cyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.